Hey, I'm Kati Spaas, and I'm a world-renowned author and speaker on high sensitivity and a retired coach to professional artists and performers. Spotlight Stress is your guide to build confidence, find your superpower, and claim your shine. Our guest today is Torrey DeVitto. You might know her as the actress in Chicago Med, Pretty Little Liars, and also Vampire Diaries for the fans out there. But Tori is not only an amazing actress, she's also an amazing person because she's really standing up for women's rights, animal rights, uh, teaching women how to create a safe space for their bodies. And I mean, I've just met her and I'm super excited. So, Tori, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do, please?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm an actor, but I think in my early 20s, I started, feeling like just sitting on set and making that my only purpose in life wasn't really enough. So I started getting into volunteering. I volunteered with hospice, which totally changed my life. It really put things in perspective for me and helped me kind of figure out how to like hone in on living the way I want to live, and not just be kind of wrapped up in my career and making that the only success in my life. And then that kind of transferred into a lot of spirituality work. I love bringing that into my acting work and melding those two things. Yeah, and like you said, I do a lot of work with women, and I've been so lucky to be on the board of directors of this amazing organization called Safe Bay that helps teach kids about sexual consent and sexual assault, and just doing that kind of work totally lights me up.
Yeah, wow. It's amazing how you get to combine all these things with an active career as well. I'm just wondering, how do you blend the spirituality with the acting part? Because I think that is super interesting as well.
Yeah, I think it's easy, especially in this career, to kind of get in your head about a lot of things or kind of lose touch with what's important to you. And I think my spirituality work, it helps me stay grounded. And it helps me kind of remember what's important, because sometimes I think you get in these environments and people will start getting all hyped up about things that in the grand scheme of things, like really don't matter. And so I just think it's important to have a practice that kind of keeps you level and keeps you grounded and reminds you of that. And also, I feel like spirituality work has helped me be able to delve even deeper into my emotions, which obviously, as an actor, we need to be able to have complete access to all of our emotions.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. I don't know how familiar you are with the term HSP, being a highly sensitive person. Is that something you relate to?
Yes, definitely. And that's why it's important, like I said, like using spiritual work to ground myself before going on set, because um, when you pick up on everybody's emotions and everybody's anxieties and all these things going on, it's really hard to not take it on as yours or not take it personally. So making sure you really ground yourself and like, put your protective bubble up, not that just totally blocks you from everyone, but kind of protects you from taking on other people's energy is really important.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you already, like, I think you took a personal dive into being a highly sensitive person, because what I've noticed doing this work is that a lot of artists are highly sensitive. Actually, most artists are, but very often they don't know that they are, or they barely even know what it means to be highly sensitive. And
Yeah.
very often there's still a negative, um, what's the word, connotation with
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Yeah.
I think that's such a shame because, yes, it can be hard and it can be challenging. But like you say, you also are able to dive so much deeper into connecting with the emotions of the character that you're playing, because thanks to being an HSP, I always like to compare them or us with X-Men, because we do have a gene that works a little bit different than most people, and it does bring a lot of advantages. Do you know like other specific advantages that you've gotten out of being an HSP?
Yeah, it's funny you say that about the X-Men. I feel like everybody, um, like I feel like we all know on a certain level what each other are thinking and can all tap into this energy of feeling everybody. I just feel like I always think it's like if you think of like your soul, and then some people just have like a little more like plaque built up around their souls than other. But I think like everybody at their core is really sensitive and in tune with everything. It's just some people are more aware of it right now than others. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I feel like being sensitive and being highly sensitive and being in tune with what's going around me has helped me in my life, in my career. I feel like it's helped me in my friendships, in my relationships. Like I said, like as an actor, I think it helps me dive deeper into emotions. That's super helpful.
Yeah, yeah, it's powerful stuff. Have you also experienced some of the downsides that we also get to deal with?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I feel like, especially before I knew how to protect myself and ground myself, I feel like I was like taking on way too much and taking other people's bad days personally and would feel like, oh my gosh, are they mad at me? What did I do? Did I do something? And really, they're just having a little bit of an off day and it's none of my business. But I'm like kind of like taking it on or trying to fix it and trying to make it right. And it's just exhausting.
Yeah. And I think that is a big one for us HSP, because I remember, like you said, when I didn't know how to stay grounded and how to connect with my inner core, with myself, when my husband used to, get home after work and he was a little bit frustrated or he had a bad day, and he got in the house and he was like, "Rah, rah, rah," the grumpy dwarf was at home, and he was just moping, and then you start taking things personal, and it felt
Yeah.
like he was injecting like a fireball right into my chest or even in my heart or my stomach. We're always very sensitive
Yeah.
there. And then I used to fuel it because I started getting in my head and get angry back at him because I was taking it personal, and
Yeah.
then I would spit it out right back at him, and we would have huge fights, and very exhausting. But then
I totally agree.
when I learned to do a little bit of, you know, breath work, groundwork, then you connect with yourself, you stay just a little bit more in the light, and you give them the space to just be grumpy.
Yeah.
And it just passes, it fades away so much sooner. What do you have a special go-to technique or something that you would like to share with us that you use?
Yeah, whenever I feel like I'm, picking up on too much, I will always close my eyes and just imagine like a nice, beautiful golden light just kind of like pouring over me that kind of protects me. Or I will literally envision if it's a specific person, like cutting the cords from me to them, and or almost like giving them a gift, imagining them there and, giving them the gift and being like, look, this is yours. This doesn't belong to me. I'm giving this back to you. Do with it what you will, but it's not mine to take. So just those
Yeah,
little energetic moments and tricks are really helpful to me, I think.
I love that gift part. I've heard the same story. My mother has a beautiful story about it that she shares in her spiritual practice, and it's also about when someone is angry, they're giving you a gift, but you don't have to take it. So it's
Right.
like you say, you're just giving the gift back, and it's yours, and it's okay, and I'm not engaging in the gift. So I think
Exactly.
that's really powerful. Have you ever heard about the three colors? The three colors that
No.
you can send out? I think that's a really powerful one. So maybe, you like it as well if you can use it. But I'm, for example, imagine you're my client and you're having a really bad day, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's a heavy conversation, for example, or someone is projecting negative energy towards you or whatever it is. What I like to do is send them the light from my heart to them, to their soul, not just just to them as a soul. I like to send it from my heart. And it's three holy colors. It's white light, it's soft pink light, and it's purple light, because it's very much love and healing in those colors. So I always send these three holy colors with the light to the other person. And what I think is the cool part, it's not even about me fixing them or healing them or sending them anything. It's actually more about me. Because very often what happens when we are engaging with someone who brings negative energy or whatever, our focus tends to bring our thoughts down. It's we start creating negative thoughts, and that is what is bringing our energy down and is making us tired. It's not the other person, it's not what they're saying, it's what it's the meaning that we give to their words. So when I stop doing that, when I get out of my head and just connect with myself, and I start sending these holy colors and this high frequency of love and light, my energy goes up. And so instantly the conversation gets lighter, even though they're still speaking heavy words, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful one. And who knows, maybe you like to use it as well, because I can tell that you're very open to work with these kind of techniques. I love that. So how are you staying strong when you hear all the heavy stuff that is coming your way, when the work that you're doing as a volunteer and in the board, that is some heavy things. You see heavy stuff happening when a woman gets her body being used by someone else. That's just I always, as a woman, it really it's close to us. So how do you cope with that? How do you stay in your light and strong?
Yeah, it's funny, because that feeling of anger, of injustice, and that's what drives me to get to where I get to. And I always tell people, like, they're like, "Oh, hospice volunteering, doesn't that depress you?" Or, "Oh my gosh, you must get, messages from, young women about some really heavy stuff. How is that to handle?" But I say it's not for everyone. Like, you don't need to feel guilty if it's something you can't handle. You know what I mean? There's other ways in which you can contribute, and it doesn't have to be that. Like, don't beat yourself up just because you think, I can't handle that. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? So for me, for whatever reason, I can handle these subjects. And I stay grounded, like you said, almost when you were just talking about that. I think sometimes when you're going through your own stuff, sometimes the best way to get over it is to put your attention elsewhere, right? And so when I'm putting my attention on these other people who need me more in that moment, than I need to focus on the mundane stuff that's driving me crazy in my life, it takes me out of my head and it fills me with this light, because I'm able to connect with somebody else on a vulnerable, deep level. And it kind of puts your own stuff in perspective and makes you go, you know what? I was worried about the fact that my house is a mess, blah, 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 whatever. And this is so much more important. And then it kind of makes everything else that's not important dissipate. So I don't know. I guess I stay strong in it because it's just something I love to do.
Yeah, you're so passionate about it that there's no other way than just showing up, doing the work, and staying positive. Because it's a little bit, if I read it correctly, it's a little bit like, it's so important to you that you're putting the mission first, before your own suffering or needs, or so there's no space for you to suffer from other people's experiences, because you've got your focus on the mission. And I think that is something that a lot of people can learn from, because we all tend to dwell in negative thoughts or in insecurity, or especially when confronting situations occur in our lives. And then it's so interesting to use this technique, focus
Right.
on the bigger picture, on the mission, because where attention goes, energy flows. So that is a really beautiful example of how people can integrate this in the
Absolutely.
day-to-day life. So yeah, thank you for sharing. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So when you look back at your career as an actress, what do you think was the biggest challenge that you had to encounter being an actress?
I think one of the biggest challenges, and actually probably still a bit of a challenge, is really staying true to what I feel strength is. I feel like there's this misconception, especially in Hollywood, that a woman is strong when she's like physically strong and like, it's just this like badass, which I love that version. I love it so much. But I draw strongness through, or in my life personally, through love and kindness and compassion. And sometimes people will be like, oh, you're too nice, you're going to get walked all over, or oh, that comes off as weak, you got to be stronger. And I'm like, but that's not how it resonates to me. That may be fine for you, but that's not to me. And so it has been a struggle, I think, in my career of being told, especially mostly by men, that I'm not being a strong enough woman, or I'm not playing this character strong enough because I'm not being quote unquote aggressive, or whatever else. And to me, I don't believe that that's how you show or draw up strength. And so fighting for that um has been, and fighting to stay true to myself for the last 20 years with that has been a struggle for me, but something I'm proud to say that I've definitely held on to and haven't let anybody take away from me. Not yet.
No, and that's where true power lies, because
Yeah.
to me it's very weak when someone gives into something because someone else thinks that, you should show up as. That's the easiest thing to do in the world.
Right.
Showing up as something, that's the easiest. You're an actress, you can
Yeah.
do that in a heartbeat. But the
Right.
hardest thing, the strongest thing is to stay true to yourself. And to be honest, the most impressive leaders in the world lead with kindness, with softness,
Absolutely.
with
Yeah.
empathy. But
Absolutely.
we've had a very masculine um, ruling and society the past decades. And I think
Yeah.
it's changing now. There's a lot more feminine energy. I have a lot of masculine energy. So to me, what you're describing is something I need to learn.
Mm.
I need to get more in touch with the softness and
Mm.
allowing myself to be weak,
Yeah.
because yeah, I've always been that strong woman. And then it's
Yeah.
it's also hard. It's also hard
Yes.
because then it's
Yes.
never good enough.
Right.
So
Right. But I think that's important too, is knowing that, we're all multifaceted. But for me to be told like, oh, you're too nice, you're going to get walked all over, you got to be stronger. It's like, no, that's how I draw my strength. Don't tell me what strength means to me. Do you know what I mean? And that may not be something that, like, as people, as women, we're so multifaceted, but we don't really allow ourselves to be multifaceted. Or I feel like the media doesn't allow us to be multifaceted, or Hollywood for a long time didn't allow women to be multifaceted. And I do think that's opening up a little bit now, but it's kind of a bit of a slow burn.
yeah, it sure is. So I think an important one. You say you draw strength from your kindness, from being gentle. How do you set your boundaries? Because they say, they're going to walk all over you. I think it's bullshit. That I've always been a hard ass, but people
Yeah.
walked all over me anyway,
Mm, mm,
So
hmm.
that's not where strength lies. How
Right.
did you draw your lines by still being you?
I think sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no. You know what I mean? Like, and I think people don't realize that either, that it's like you can still be like, I send you so much love, but that is not in line with what I want to do. So no, but thank you. I'll never forget, I was getting my hair done by this fabulous guy once. I don't remember his name, and I don't remember even where I was getting my hair done at. But somebody came up to him while he was doing my hair and said, "Oh, blah blah blah, will you be able to do blah blah blah's hair?" And he said, "No, I'm sorry. I can't because I won't." And I started laughing so hard. I was like, "What did you just say to her?" He goes, "I said I can't because I won't." And he goes, "When you say that to people, they have no way to come back at you. Because if you say I can't, they might be like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? But when you say I'm sorry, I can't because I won't, they have nothing left to say." And I was like, that is so powerful because you're saying it so kindly. Like, no, I'm sorry, I can't because I won't. I loved that so much. I was like, I am keeping that forever.
Yes. And you know what? What we tend to do, especially as HSP, because we always want everyone happy. So we're these big pleasers.
Yes.
And what we tend to do is we start justifying ourselves. And then we give all our strength away.
Sure.
That's just like, that's
Sure.
giving your power on a service tray and saying, here it is.
Yeah, here you go. You can have it.
Yeah, exactly. I remember even to one of my best girlfriends in the past when I used to say, oh no, I can't. I used to type this book of a message, and then afterwards I really had to learn how to erase. I still
Yeah.
typed it, but then I started erasing, like, oh no, I can't, but I would love to, ta 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 ta. Just they don't
Yeah.
need all that. That's just
No. Yeah.
so
I
I
know. I
think,
think
yeah,
especially with our phones and everything, we're so used to being so accessible. And it's like we feel this pressure to constantly, oh my God, this person just texted. I have to get back to them right away. Or I have to get back to my emails right away. And it's like, but you don't. Like, don't you remember before all these phones? I mean, a lot of people remember that at this point, but I remember like I would go out, do my own thing, and check my voicemail when I came home. I didn't, nobody could get a hold of me when I was out. And I know I was like a young teenager when those times were happening, but I wish that was still the same way. I hate that everybody is so accessible all day long.
yeah, it's true. It's very it's taking over our lives.
Yeah,
Taking over
for
our lives.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you were saying that I have to get back to this because I thought that is so interesting. We have to dig a little bit deeper there. I can't, but I won't, which I think is brilliant.
I
Sometimes
love that.
the most loving thing you can do is say no. We'll quote that one because it's like the best. But there's also the part, where you say no and you don't justify yourself, but you just stay true to yourself and then connect with the thing that you are doing in the moment.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is where I wanted to go to. You know what? Mom brain it's just fried in here. Normally I can
Oh,
shift
good.
so quickly, but now I'm like, what is going on? I remember. Sorry. I mean, you've got 1 million followers. We're on this topic about always being available and accessible. How do you deal with the constant people asking your attention? Because that is putting a lot of pressure on a lot of artists.
Yeah. Especially with social media, I have to have boundaries. Like you want to be available and you want to comment to everything, but then it's such a fine line because also, I stopped reading bad comments a long time ago in my career. But then I actually started realizing how unhealthy it can be to read too many good comments from people you don't know as well. People are it's so touching and moving, but we're all just equals on this planet. And sometimes in social media, people get lifted up more and people get put down more. And we have this like, it's not level, it's not equal. And I don't live that way. So I don't want to really be engaging in that of making it seem like I am more than just because I chose a career of acting. It doesn't really, you know what I mean? But I'm super grateful for the people. If it wasn't for those people, I wouldn't have my career. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, for sure.
definitely a catch 22, but setting boundaries in that space and like allotting certain amount of times that like, okay, this is the time I'll go on social media. This is the time I'll step away from social media. This is the time I will comment back. I try not to really check my messages unless I've done something like with Safe Bay and I've told kids, for the next week or whatever, I'll be checking my messages in case you guys have questions. I'll do that. But otherwise, I just do think that it gets a little bit unhealthy.
Yeah.
Sorry, those are the dogs. Hey, you guys be quiet.
It seems like they agree.
I'm moving, we're gonna keep barking. Sorry.
That's so much fun. What dogs do you have?
I have a Chihuahua mix, a Poodle Terrier mix, and a Bernedoodle.
A Bernedoodle. They say that they're super sweet.
They are very sweet. They the amount of love in this dog's body is crazy. She will just, if you touch her, she's like, "Oh, you love me, you love me, you love me." And it's like, oh my God. Like I love it so much, but sometimes I just want to be like, "Hey, Maya, chill out. It's all good. It's all good." Because my other dogs are so calm and they'll just like lay around. And in the morning, Maya's like, "You're up, you're up, you're up."
Oh
And you're
my
like,
God.
"Oh." She's just unmat. And this guy's just been sitting on my lap the whole time.
Did he? Was he all the time there?
The whole time, yeah. His name's Bo. He's my little old guy.
How old is he?
Well, I'm not quite sure. I got him in June of 2010, I think, and they said he was 6, so he should be 18, but I don't think he's that old yet. I think he might be like 16, 17.
Oh,
My little man.
oh, that's amazing. I just had to give up I had a Jack Russell who was she was whiter. She was more gray. She was 16 years old and I had her since she was a baby and I had to let
So
her
precious.
go.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's, you can
I
still
know.
start
No,
crying over those things. That's your kids that are,
100%. 100%. I lost one of my dogs a year and 4 months ago, and I still can't look at pictures of her.
I know. I
I can't.
know.
I can't. It
So
just kills
hard.
me. Yeah.
I was scrolling through my phone yesterday because I had to look up some stuff and I thought, oh my God, Luna,
I know, it's so
I
tragic.
miss you. Because of that, I was so stupid. Normally I don't do things like that. But because of that, I was so heartbroken. And we had already discussed, you know what? Our 2 dogs are so old. I still have a big one. He's also old.
Yeah.
I said, our 2 dogs are so old, we can start thinking what would be the next race that we would want to, welcome in our family. So it just started, it's like they appear to you or something, and then
Totally.
it just
I believe
starts
that.
happening. And so we already had that discussion. And then I had to let go of my girl. And I was so heartbroken. I said, you know what? We need to get those dogs now because I can't cope. My heart is broken into
I
pieces.
know.
I don't know how to. And you know what the thing is? The things that annoy you most, like running in front of your feet while you have a tray and almost falling, those things are the things that you miss most when they're gone.
Totally.
So
Totally.
yeah,
It's
so we
so
got those
sad.
2 puppies and now we're dying. So that is not the way to mourn, people.
I know. I know.
Oh my God. But okay, there's a lot of love. But yeah, dogs are the best.
They're the
They're
best.
like the little soulmates.
They are.
Oh, that's so nice. And we've got 3 as well. And we've got a cat, but the cat is so sad with the puppies running, chasing after him.
She's like, what happened to my calm life?
Exactly. We had these 2 really super chill dogs that were laying around all day, and now it's like just running for his life.
I know. I feel like that's what happened when my boyfriend and I moved in together. My 2 dogs that are super chill. There's like this 2-year-old Bernedoodle now, and they're like, excuse me, mom. We loved the way life was before. What have you done to us? These are our golden years. We didn't ask for this. It's funny.
Take me back to the old place.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, it's so much fun. Brings so much joy. And I guess that's why we're both a vegetarian as well. Did you become a vegetarian at a young age?
Yeah, I've been vegetarian now for, God, I think like 14 years almost. When I was like 24, 23, 24, somewhere around
Oh yeah.
there.
Okay, yeah, beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I mean,
nice.
I did eat fish for I went around like 24 and I stopped eating fish I think around 29.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
I do think fish is healthy. I couldn't eat it as a child, so I never bothered to try it because I started being a vegetarian at 13, so it's been 25 years now. But
Wow.
I didn't, people look at you like, oh my God, how can you do without meat? I have not missed a piece of meat for not a second, not a day
No.
ever.
Me either. And it's also really hard for me. Like I enjoyed eating fish. I love sushi. I mean, I've found amazing vegetarian, vegan sushi now that I love
Yeah,
just as much. But um for me, once I learned about like overfishing and all the collateral damage of the dolphins and the sharks and all the other sea creatures getting caught in the nets too, I was like, I can't. It's I, sometimes I think to myself, oh, maybe I should incorporate fish. I'd probably be a little bit healthier. Or I think like that. I always go like, I just can't. I feel like morally, it just is in my head of
yeah.
what I've seen. When you see what you see and then you can't look back, it's just really hard to kind of turn a blind eye. You know what I
To
mean?
unsee it. Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's true. And that is something that we as highly sensitive people also, that this is for everyone the same, but to us, we have a deeper way of processing information. So when we have such a strong emotion that gets linked
Yeah.
to an event or situation, I mean, that is like stuck in there forever.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So we don't need to do anything to stay vegetarian. It's just like
Exactly.
that.
It's there. Totally.
Oh, that's nice. Sorry, I want to thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I'm
Thank
really
you.
grateful um, for having this chat with you. Is there anything you'd like to? Oh, I want to say something. You've got
Yeah.
a movie coming up, Rippin
Yes.
Time.
Yes. It's on the Hallmark's Mystery, Murders and Mystery channel, and it's called Rippin Time. It's based on the Rip Van Winkle fable, and I absolutely loved making this film. I think it's going to be adorable, and the reason I say that with like a shock is because normally when I do stuff, I'm like not so excited to watch it. I don't love watching myself, but I'm actually very excited to see how this turned out. I think it's going to be really cute.
That's nice. I really like the fact that you're going to enjoy watching yourself because that
Yeah.
is a big deal. That's a
Exactly.
big
I
deal.
agree. So I hope everybody enjoys it who watches it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Thank you so much, and
Thank you so
we'll talk
much.
soon.
Sounds good.